A couple other sort of general announcements. We'll go to our last session of the day. After this, from 5 to 6:30, we'll have coffee with the scientists over at the now Frisky Mermaid Cafe, formerly known as the Lazy Otter Cafe. And then that's 5 to 6:30, then 6:30 to 8 with a social with food at the Oceanfront Cafe. Also, again, I really encourage you to fill out an evaluation survey. It helps us tell us how we're doing with this event. Tomorrow, we'll go at this again, same place, starting at 9. We start at 9 tomorrow? 9 o'clock tomorrow. Same place on Zoom or here in person. Also, we have a membership, so we encourage you to join the Prince William Sound Stewardship Foundation. It's at $25, and you get all kinds of good information and access to some of our volunteer stuff. Again, go to our website. We have an amazing list of opportunities that you as an individual or your family can go out in Prince William Sound and make the place better. So I really encourage you to check out our website. So last up, I'm really happy to have Allison Carl back. Again, Allison's with the Chugach Regional Resource Commission, and she's going to talk about ocean monitoring.
Hi, everyone. It's me again. Thanks for having me again. My name is Allison Carl. I work for Chugach Regional Resources Commission. I manage our biology laboratory space and also our ocean monitoring program. I probably won't take up our full 45 minutes, so good news there. I also did bring some sampling kits and sampling supplies, so if anyone over on the way to coffee wants to learn a little bit about how we collect some of our samples through citizen science, I'm happy to go down to the harbor and do that with everybody, or with whoever's interested. Is it this? Oh, perfect. Okay, so Chugach Regional Resources Commission, I did mention this earlier, but I'll just say again, we're a 501c3 intertribal nonprofit. We serve the 7 tribes of the Chugach region of Alaska. Our mission is to promote tribal sovereignty and subsistence lifestyles, and we help support that through a variety of different natural resource programs and projects. So just to kind of orient everybody here is a map of our 7 tribes. We have Nenwalek and Port Graham down in Lower Cook Inlet. Katuchik Native Tribe is located in Seward in Resurrection Bay. And then Chiniga, Tutitlik, Valdez, and Eyak are all right here in Prince William Sound. And I always like to show this map because it really shows how coastal our communities are in the region. So CRRC also owns and operates the Alutiiq Pride Marine Institute down in Seward. Who's been to the Sea Life Center? We're kind of behind it. You go down the road a little bit towards the waterfall, you'll see this long building, and that's our mariculture and research facility. So this is really important to our communities and to our region. We focus on developing projects that enhance economic opportunity as well as subsistence opportunity. So not just looking at like income and monetary based species, but also culturally significant species. And we've had dozens of animals in our hatchery. And again, very important because our communities are coastal. I need to edit this slide to make this photo much bigger, but this is a foods map, and it's going from spring to summer to fall to winter. And as you look at it, one thing you'll notice is that all year round we can turn to our marine resources for different types of foods and sustenance. And in particular in our communities, intertidal resources are very, very important. The intertide is a really accessible area for community members to go down. So maybe men are out hunting, maybe women are processing food, whatever your role is in the community. And then, elders and kids can really easily go down to the beach and get all different types of resources and foods. So I'm sure everyone in the room is familiar with the Exxon Valdez oil spill. If you're not familiar with EVOS, very briefly, this was a devastating oil spill in our region. This impacted all of our tribes as well as communities in neighboring regions. This happened right in the center of our communities. And a lot of our tribal members were out there helping to respond to this event. And over the years, that has caused some concern about what is going on in the water, specifically directly at tribal communities. So at direction of our board, we applied through the Exxon Valdez Oil Spill Trustee Council to develop the Chugach Regional Ocean Monitoring Program. That's the CHROME program. This is kind of our first big step into research and monitoring down at the Alutiiq Pride Marine Institute. And really the focus is to fill gaps in understanding nearshore ocean health in Chugach communities. So very nearshore, and it's specifically related to ocean chemistry, harmful algal blooms, and then biotoxins from those algal blooms. If you're not familiar with HABs, I kind of think of them in these two broad categories. There are HABs that when they bloom, there's just so many of them, they can use up nutrients, clog fish gills. There's just too many of them blooming all at the same time. And then there's the type that we focus on, which are toxin-producing algae. So these algae live as cysts down in sediments. During the right environmental conditions, they might get kicked up into the water column where they now have access to sunlight and nutrients and warmer waters, and they might then bloom and potentially start forming toxins. We have some blue mussels down here in the bottom of the figure. Those are what we use for our regular monitoring because they're known for taking in toxins and kind of like, it's called depurating. They kind of take them in and break them down, spit them out really fast. And so when we test blue mussels, it gives us a really good idea of what's in the water right then. And yeah, so this is really important because these algae can move through food systems. So there's fish here, birds will eat shellfish, marine mammals, and obviously our people here eat shellfish a lot. So our program is supported through community-based sampling. Each of the 7 communities ideally has a sampler there that take phytoplankton net tows, a seawater chemistry sample, a blue mussel sample, and then they also will collect environmental data from there. In addition to the tribal communities within the region, we also partner with tribes outside of the region who maybe don't have the capacity for some of this sampling. It's really up to them what they're interested in. And then additionally, we work with the Stewardship Foundation, and we get blue mussels from around Prince William Sound through summer projects. So I will stick to the biology side of things. I'm a biologist, not a chemist, so I'll stick to biology. Our phytoplankton net tows come in, and we look at them under the microscope. We do cell counts of toxin-producing harmful algae, and then we also just take note of any other common species that we find there. So we do have data sets on phytoplankton populations throughout the region. And then we're also currently incorporating quantitative PCR for detecting Alexandrium. We do that through filtering water and looking at DNA in the water. We have 2 tests for identifying toxin levels. So we do what's called a receptor binding assay for paralytic shellfish toxins. And then we have an ELISA for looking at domoic acid. And this is really significant because I'll start by, I always like to say CERC does not regulate shellfish. We don't have the ability to regulate shellfish. And quite honestly, I don't want that responsibility, and I don't think communities would be very happy if I went in and tried to like shut down a beach or tell them you can't eat this food because I found something in it. But what I can do is use the federal regulatory limits and to communicate that science, those data back to tribal communities. So saxitoxin is produced by Alexandrium, that's an algae, and that causes paralytic shellfish poisoning. There's a federal limit of 80 micrograms per 100 gram, and then for domoic acid that's caused by Pseudonychia, causes amnesic shellfish poisoning. It's in a different unit. The federal regulatory limit is 20 ppm. So when I test samples coming in, these are the limits that I use. I can make graphs, different types of science communication material, and I kind of just use these as a guide of like, this is what would or would not be allowed to be sold in a grocery store or in a restaurant. And this is really important because in Alaska, unlike down in some of the states, so for example, Washington, the state will test beaches that are open for shellfish harvest. Alaska is a harvest at your own risk state, so we do not offer subsistence testing. This is one of our kind of standard reports, so if something were to come back really high above a regulatory limit, I would make a special report, and those go directly to tribal leadership. Charla is not tribal leadership, but I do owe you a report from some recent blue mussel samples, so you might be seeing a more public-facing one soon from the Stewardship Foundation. But these help us So we make our regular data sheets, and those get sent out to tribes kind of like throughout the year, somewhat regularly throughout the year. And then these are more for if we find something that is over that regulatory limit. So it's like a special report to kind of call attention. And yeah, these go directly to the tribes. I don't necessarily want to try and do any type of management or regulation for tribal communities. I leave that up to the hands of our chiefs and tribal councils. And yeah, one thing I think that's missing from this slide here, so this is to help inform subsistence use of marine resources, but I think it's also very important to call out here. This is building baseline data in areas that are historically understudied. There is a lot of research going on in the Gulf of Alaska, but when you get to really near-shore coastal tribal communities, the data just isn't always there. And so as we see changes in environment and in processes that maybe have been well documented elsewhere, this will give us more data to kind of come back to and make comparisons and help tribes make decisions moving forward. And I forgot to put a thank you slide with my name and contact on it. This is my last slide. I do have sampling supplies, so if anyone wants to go grab a sample with me, it looks like just a regular drizzle, a regular Whittier drizzle out there. So if anyone's brave and wants to go grab a sample, I'll be here. And I can take, if anyone has questions, I'll do my best. Yes? Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm talking a lot. Yes, so because this is funded through the Exxon Valdez Oil Spill Trustee Council, our data are uploaded. It's called Axiom. It was just purchased by Tetra Tech. Are you familiar with the Alaska Ocean Observing Network? Yeah. There is on their data portal. Mm-hmm. Yes?
Latest blue mussel samples and things like that?
Yeah, so if anyone didn't hear, I don't know about people online, he's asking if I am aware of the current toxin levels in Prince William Sound. And one thing, unfortunately, our blue mussel testing typically starts right around right now, so we haven't done testing yet for this season. There is some traditional knowledge where typically in colder months, there's not a lot of algae in the water, and so it's kind of like the safer times to be harvesting intertidal foods. Yeah, so I don't have any specific numbers right now. These are things that kind of they can change very quickly, and they do change throughout the year seasonally. One thing, it's like if you think of areas that are shallow, those are typically areas the waters can get really warm. If there's algae in the sediments, they might kick up really easy. That's the pattern I've noticed.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I don't know off the top of my head. I know that when we have cultured them in the past, they seem to really like 13 degrees C. Yeah.
I know lots of folks that are doing testing. There's a challenge between receiving the sample, getting it analyzed, and then the turnaround to the public. And that's not just CRRC, that's just the nature of it. Do you have any comments on that? Like, is there a standard turnaround time for a sample that came in from the Sound that might have a high rating for Alexandrium or anything you can say about that?
Yeah, I'll just say that when we get samples and like that, those get prioritized. So there were some blooms happening in Ketchmak Bay last year, and we were getting samples in kind of throughout the week, and we were getting those turned around, I believe, within 2 weeks, which is pretty good. Surprisingly, it sounds like a long time, especially if you're trying to make harvest decisions. One thing I will say, and I want to call out, is CTOR, Southeast Alaska Tribal Ocean Research. They also do testing. They came before us, and they have their program really locked down, and they do what's called, I believe, harvest and hold, where people will send in samples, and then you can freeze samples while they're testing them.
And I'll just back up what you said. Yeah, 2 or 3 weeks sounds like a long time, but I agree with you. That's pretty quick. and that's been the big challenge to, like the question that we just had, like how do I know? Well, sometimes it takes a long time to get that back, so all the cautions still apply, but the work you guys are doing and through the Stewardship Foundation is really important. I think that over time that lag will eventually find its way down, but right now it's just the challenge of the whole thing, from the Pribilos to Juneau kind of thing.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hi. So I know that your body of research doesn't go back a terribly long time, but have there been any long-term trends that you are comfortable sharing or have seen?
Yeah, and you just reminded me, I forgot to say ours. So for our chemistry side of things, that's actually been, on the chemistry side, things have been going on for like 10 or 15 years, like quite a long time. On the HAB side of things, we did just apply for this and start programming closer to 2022. There are certain areas, I won't say exactly maybe like where those areas are. I will say shallow, shallow turbid areas. We have seen some trends where in the spring, summer, you will see peaks and blooms. And then there's some areas where, like for example in Seward, where maybe we see like a small peak in toxins. They're not coming up to those federal regulatory limits, but we have a hard time identifying the algae itself. It can be hard to see and identify to catch those trends. And that's why it's also so important we're adding in the kind of molecular-based analysis too. So looking at eDNA, environmental DNA, DNA that's in the water from those algae to try and really catch some solid trends.
Allison, if we're out and about and we collect a sample, what's the process? Like I'm on a boat, and I want to not a sample, what do I do with it? How
Yeah,
do I
sure.
store it? How do I get it to you?
Perfect. And if anyone's interested in going and collecting a sample, I'll just say that again. We can go down and do it physically at the harbor. But one thing that's really, really important is the date and what it is. Those are kind of the two biggest things. So if you have some kind of bag, I know we get things in frozen fruit bags, leftover snack wrappers, really whatever you can make works. It doesn't need to be these. If you're doing for shellfish, it's not that sensitive. Yeah, your leftover sandwich bag will work as long as it's labeled really well. And then one big thing is communicating with us. So I should have some business cards on me if anyone was interested. That is one big thing, is communicating with us. So grab your samples, label the bag what it is. As soon as you can get it into a freezer, I'd put it in a freezer and then give me a call or an email. Some people have found our P.O. box and just shipped it to us. And if we don't know, we're not checking it all the time. And then there's clams in the P.O. box and we get in trouble. It can be, and I have had some that have the water temperature written on, and I log those. We have a whole data sheet that for some of our more regular, like baseline monitoring, that if you're interested in, I can share that sheet with you. Yeah, it can be helpful to getting the water temperature. If you're just interested in the toxins, we can do just toxins too. It's it can be helpful for like documentation, but I don't need that to like actually run the test. Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, so this is kind of a loaded question. Those federal regulatory limits can be hard to communicate. This is something that us as scientists, we have long, hours long, weeks long, months long, year long conversations on how do we communicate that risk. Because some people are not deterred by something going over 80 micrograms per 100 gram. It depends on your health, on your size, did you eat something else earlier that day? There's a lot of different factors that go into that. So at least for me, it's really hard to determine that. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yes, yeah, and that's some. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't recommend any. I'm not a regulatory agency. But yeah, that's what I've been hearing stories that some people will eat things that are over regulatory limit and nothing happens, and some people you might feel symptoms when it's not at regulatory limit. It really depends. It can be person by person. Yes, in the back. That's a great question. As far as in humans, I unfortunately don't necessarily study the human side as much, so I don't know about bioaccumulating in people. As far as in animals, saxitoxin is actually named after the scientific name for butter clams because they have been known to just hold on to it. Saxidomus, I think, if I'm saying that, if I'm remembering it correctly. So it does bioaccumulate in some bivalves. A little bit of context there, this is a neurotoxin, and so it affects your central nervous system. Clams don't have a central nervous system, so when you get a big healthy butter clam that's just like eating algae all day, it could be holding on to that for months and months, if not longer. Good questions, thank you.
So thanks, Allison. Yeah, well, let's go down to the harbor and learn how to collect some samples. That's it for today. I want to again thank our sponsors. We have Exxon Valdez Oil Spill Trustees, the Philanthropy Northwest, Chugach Alaska Corporation, Bob and Sherry Dugan, City of Whittier for our hospitality here, Prince William Sound Center for their watch party, our planning committee, which includes Prince William Sound Regional Citizens Advisory Council, Chugach National Forest, Alaska Sea Grant, Alaska Sea Kayakers, the Frisky Mermaid, and also lots of other sponsors of the foundation, including the Prince William Sound Regional Citizens Advisory Committee, Alaska Sea Kayakers, Alaska Wildlife Conservation Center, Alpine Air, and Adar Adventures, Chenega Regional Development Group, Chugach Regional Resource Commission, Connie Builders, Drifters Fish, Lazy Otter Charters, Stan Stevens, Glacier, and a lot of other people. Thank you all very much. What other notes I have? Again, we have a great committee of people. Charla is our executive director. William is doing our video today. Kelly, Bender, Pete with Alaska Sea Kayakers, Ellen, Tim, Lee, Maya, Alex, all have done a great job getting this together. And what else do I got? My other notes. I think that's about it. Tomorrow we'll start at 9 with some great topics. We got Chugach culture with Allie Johnson. We got land management updates. We got a berry arm update. We have learned about kelp. Excellent. We got Prince William Sound Regional Citizens Advisory Committee is coming out with a new book. They're going to talk about that, like a book release. We're going to learn about sea stars with Tanya, who's sitting right here. We got update on the Beats and Mind, another guide panel, and much more. So that's tomorrow. Right now, if you're not going to go down, learn how to sample some stuff, we'll exit, and whoever wants to join us over to Frisky Mermaid / Lazy Otter for coffee, tea with the scientists. And then after that, we have a social at the Oceanfront Cafe with food for whoever wants to join us. Thank you all for being with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.